Welcome back to News at Prime Time for some business. Now, industry experts at the Africa Energy Week leaned into the conversation on the importance of promoting further exploration on the continent in order to end energy poverty. Business reporter Ntokozo Khumalo caught up with BP Southern Africa's CEO, Taelo Mojapelo, on the state of the continent's energy industry and whether South Africa is likely to face a fuel crisis. Here's that report.
Well, the key focus area at the African Energy Week is really around deepening collaboration but for the continent to make the most of its own resources and work together more closely to really diversify the continent's energy mix. And for some detail around how businesses are navigating the space, I am now joined by Taelo Mojapelo, who is the Chief Executive Officer for BP Southern Africa. Thank you once again for talking to us. Now, conversations are around balancing exploration with climate change, with, ending energy poverty. Talk us through Africa's current state of energy and how that affects then growth and development.
Thank you. Africa's issue is quite challenging because we have a serious energy deficit. Today, we find that energy poverty is rife throughout sub-Saharan Africa. The northern parts of Africa, which is, in the Arab nations, that is a lot better in terms of energy deficiency. Now, what causes this? We find there is a historical legacy of colonialism and lack of industrialization. African countries primarily have been export countries, so we've found ourselves exporting all the energy sources because we've literally provided the labor that has gone into the industrialization of developed countries. Now it presents us an opportunity which we should have exploited, and we face challenges. As countries, got their independence, many of us have struggled to try and find the right balance. And what has resulted is that you find significant inequality in many countries. South Africa has one of the highest Gini coefficients in the world, and this is primarily as a result of, the significant imbalance that stifles economic development. And there's a lot of work that we could do as African countries to improve that. So
last week, during Oil Week, we did hear from the Central Energy Fund saying that South Africa could be facing a fuel crisis. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's quite interesting because the way I look at it, we're finding ourselves with a surplus of fuel globally. And if you look at, a lot of your refineries globally, they actually are highly competitive. They're mega refineries, particularly in the East, and they produce what we call clean fuels, which actually does serve us well in terms of our clean energy transition. But in addition, we find when you have mega refineries, the economies of scale are much better. And for all players in the industry working together, making sure we import successfully, I don't actually see a fuel crisis pending.
Thank you so much once again for talking to us. And of course, that is Taelo Mojapelo, who is the Chief Executive Officer for BP Southern Africa. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ntokozo Khumalo in Cape Town.